Hey, how's it going, everybody? Today we're going to talk a little bit about comic book goals for collecting and also play a little game of what's inside the box. Hi, I'm Christopher, aka the Bronze Age Nerd, and one of my most popular videos I've ever made here on YouTube is about my comic book collecting goals for 2022. But I have a confession to make. I actually never followed up on how well I did on that list, so let's talk about that a little bit, and then let's talk about my goals for 2023 and see if I've made any progress. Now, what is a comic book collecting goal for a year? This is a pretty common trend in the comic book community. You take 10 comic books that you're looking for, some kind of number that you make up, and you try to focus on those for that year. I find this very helpful because it helps me kind of focus my comic book collecting, and it helps me avoid FOMO because I look at a comic book and I'm like, is this really on the list of comic books that I definitely have to have this year? It's just kind of a way to stay focused throughout that year. So a quick recap of what my list was in 2022. I wanted to get X-Men 101, which I did grab last year, so that was one that I completed. I was looking for X-Men 50, which is one I did not find last year. Batman Adventures 12, another one that eluded me. And the last one that eluded me was Amazing Spider-Man 124. Some other ones that were on the list, though, were X-Men 121, which I did get. Amazing Spider-Man 299, which I also grabbed. Showcase 97, I got that one. Airboy 5, I found that one as well. ASM 328 and X-Men 40. So not too bad. I did miss 3 books, but they were probably the 3 most expensive books. Maybe not. Maybe 3 of the 4 most expensive books on that list. So that kind of makes sense, right? For a good part of last year, comic books were still booming. And so the market was up pretty high compared to what I expected in 2021 when I made that initial list. Also, on top of that, I had some personal situations that made me focus on other things than collecting comic books for a while last year, and that's just what I had to focus on. However, this year I'm starting off a little strong, and so far we're building some steam towards some stuff on the channel goals. There's some improvements I've made, some improvements I'm making, and then after this I get to focus on comic books again. So I've already kind of started shifting into that a little bit, and so let's talk about my goals for 2023. So not too surprising, a lot of the books on this list were the ones I didn't get from last year. I carried over. I actually have axed ASM 124. Doesn't mean I won't get it, but it is a book that I feel like for where it's at right now and for my goals in getting it, which were mostly related around spec, I felt pretty comfortable knocking that one off the list. That's another good thing about these lists. It's a good idea to stay agile. If you find yourself really not interested in the book anymore, don't chase it. And it keeps me a little open. If I ever find a great deal on ASM 124, I can still pull the trigger. Okay, so number 1 on the list, the book I've been hunting for a couple years now, X-Men 50 is going to be a big book on that list. Next up on the list is the classic McFarlane cover, Hulk 340. One of my favorite independent comics that I just have a weird obsession with is Empowered, and that's the great Adam Warren comic. So Empowered's first appearance, as far as I can tell in comic books, is giant size Kung Fu Bible Stories #1. It's actually like a Treasury edition size comic book, so that's going to be really tough to store once I get it, but it is on the list for this year. At number 4, Cry for Dawn #5, the second printing. This is a booty cover for sure. In fact, it's a very, very, very booty cover. It's a great cover, but it's a Joseph Michael Linzer cover, one of the great Dawn covers, and one of the ones I'm looking for. Very tough book to find in high grade. I'm probably looking for like a VF copy. I should also add Hulk 340. I'm looking for like a 992 on that, probably, most likely. X-Men 50, I would solidly be looking for like a mid-grade copy. And the Kung Fu Bible Stories, I'm looking for like a near mint plus copy on that. Okay, number 5 on the list, we have Star Wars: The Rise of Kylo Ren #3, which is the first cameo appearance of Avar Kriss, who's a character I really enjoy from the High Republic era. Obviously, I have many copies of #1, which is her first full appearance for High Republic, but this is her first cameo, so I want to make sure I grab a copy of that this year. At number 6, we have Batman Adventures #12, first appearance of Harley Quinn. This is going to be an expensive book. I will say I just barely missed this book the other day on a great deal for a 7.5 graded copy. It went for a smoking deal on an auction, and I missed it by $5. So I was pretty upset about that, but oh well. Hopefully I have another chance around at a copy. I'm probably looking for a 5.0 to a 7.5 entry-level copy. I can always upgrade that down the road, but that's kind of where I'm at with this book. Next up, Giant Size Chillers #1. This is the first appearance of Lilith. I think it's a really cool book. I'm looking for probably like a VG copy of this one, most likely. And you know, I'd actually would accept a lower grade on this one too. I'm fine with that entry level low grade, but I think it's a cool book. I want to get into some of the Marvel horror from the Bronze Age. I think this is a great entry point. At number 8, this is an awesome Dave Stevens cover, Alien Worlds number 4 from 1983. Just another great one I want to add to the collection. And then at number 9, we have Cable 21, which is the first appearance of the first full appearance of the adult version of Hope Summers. Being a massive Cyclops fan, I have to get a copy of Hope's first appearance. I do have X-Men 205, which is her first appearance as a baby. I've actually got 2 copies of that. Shout out to Comic Sam, who we did a little trade to get those. That was a really awesome trade. I appreciate that. I'm still kind of loosely chasing the J. Scott Campbell version of 205 too, but it's kind of an expensive book for what I'm willing to pay for it right now, so figured I'd shift over to Cable 21. And last but not least on the list is another oversized book. This is Star Wars Super Special, The Empire Strikes Back, which is issue number 16 in that series. It's a magazine size, and depending on how you view it or look at it, this could be considered the first appearance of some key characters like Boba Fett. It's a controversial first appearance for some of those characters, but it is one that I'm willing to add to the collection. I think it's a cool book, and I'm a big Star Wars fan, so why not? I'll add that one as well. That's number 10 on the list. So I have picked up a couple books already from the list this year, and I want to kind of reveal my progress. First up, I do have this copy of Star Wars The Rise of Kylo Ren number 3. This is that first cameo appearance of Avar Kriss, so that's already in the collection. And then we did add another one, which is in this box right here, so let's see what I got. Lots of bubble wrap. That's always good to see when you know there's a slab inside the package. And yes, it is a slab. All right, what do we have in here? Some of you may already know what this is, based on the list I gave you, but this is X-Men 50. That's right, gorgeous 4.0 copy. I would have loved a little bit higher grade, but you know what? For the price, I couldn't complain. I ended up only paying $225 for this, which I think is a smoking deal for it, to be honest. So I'm really happy about that. And that's just some Steranko goodness. Like the best part is, like the important parts of the cover all look really great there. So a little discoloration on the back. I actually, just from looking at the back, I doubt this was ever cleaned. So, I mean, I could probably get kind of crazy and do a crack and a clean and a press. Maybe get a better grade on it. There is a pretty good bend on the cover right here. So, you know, certainly not going to be high grade, but yeah, maybe it was pressed but not clean, because it's pretty dirty on the back. But hey, you know what? I actually don't care that much. I'm happy just to own this. It's in a good condition. Short of having one signed by Steranko, which would be pretty cool, because then you'd have the yellow label, which I think goes pretty well with this cover. That would be pretty awesome as well. But hey, I'm really, really excited. I've been waiting for this book to add it to the collection for like 2 years. So this is awesome. Now, I am doing this thing where I buy the issue of X-Men for the year I turn. So, for example, the last couple years I got X-Men 39, X-Men 40 because I turned 40. And this year, I already own a copy of 41. It's actually like the oldest X-Men book I own, and I've owned for many, many, many years. But I might upgrade it, or I might go back down, or I don't know what I was going to do. But, technically I should have waited to get this when I was 50, but by then this book might be super unaffordable, so I thought it was smart to pick it up now. So excited. All right, so it's going to hang out over here on my Malverde slab stand, and that's pretty much where I'm at for this year for 2023 so far. I will make sure to post more updates as I get closer to completing my list, and we'll see how far I get this year. It's kind of sad to miss some of those last year, but hey, we got a second shot at them this year. I want you to let me know down in the comments below what books you're hunting this year. Also, on your way to the comments, you can become a channel member if you want to. That's how all these wonderful people got their names on the screen. Channel members help support me as when it comes to things like channel subscriptions that I have to use for streaming services or for price checks on my videos. So that's one way you can support the channel if you want to. Otherwise, just watching and leaving a comment is totally awesome too, and I appreciate that. Thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Until then, I want to remind you, as always, hey, 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 hey. Read comics every day.